Welcome to 5 Star Weekly. An unexpected draw over the past weekend, and now we got to get down to business at home. We're getting all that and more coming up. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to the show, 5 Star fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And Atl Utd, we somehow were able to muster up, in spite of all the acrimonious things that were happening, a 2-2 draw at FC Cincinnati. We will get into that, but before we do, let's give some major shouts out to our loyal Patreon fam, and most notably Gavin, Jordan, Niall, Andrew, Chris, Nick, and Jeff. You guys, thank you so much, as always, for your patronage. But yes, let's get into the match review, and it is brought to you by Sweetwater Rowdy Peach IPA. The official craft beer of Atl United Fan TV. So definitely check it out in stores as soon as you can. It is delicious. But full transparency, guys. We recorded this one time already, and some technical difficulties. So we are gonna power through this a little quicker than usual. Here we go. Yeah, Atl United, FC Cincy, 10 players out on international duty, 11 players total because of an injury as well. So, it is, going into this match, Matt Edwards playing as a center back next to Brooks Lennon, and as well Derek Williams and Pedro Amador in defense. Will Riley made his MLS debut as well. And you had Saba on the right, Shawnee Silva on the left. Ranchuk, pretty much it was expected for him to, try to show out here. And, of course, Emmanuel Lattelat up top. Well, Mike, give us a quick overview of your thoughts on this match.
This is a match where probably most fans, due to what has happened in the past when we go to Columbus on international break, penciled this in on their calendar as maybe I won't watch this game. This is okay to miss. I don't have high expectations for this game. We typically get trounced. It's usually not pretty. I
think you meant Ohio probably, right? But yeah.
I did. What did I say?
Columbus, but either way,
Yeah. So that's just the other one, right? So that's what it was in the past, was getting trounced in Columbus. But this is different. This is very different. This is a draw away. You get a point in one of the most difficult places to play, in one of the most difficult fixtures of the entire year. So I think that that's absolutely a win, considering everything that happened. Now, a injury to Tristan is not exactly a great. I don't know if I wanted to pay that cost for this result, but it's still 1 point. And we get out of there with that, which is really, I don't think anyone expected us to do.
Right, indeed. And we'll get to Muyumba's injury in a second. But the first goal from Atl United, Muyumba was already off at that point. Togashi came in midfield, playing next to Will Riley, who had gotten an early yellow card, but he was able to, with the poise, pretty much stay on the pitch, be available, be a player that was essentially, kind of playing beyond his years, especially for his MLS debut, playing a full 90 minutes. We'll get to him further, but Togashi pretty much playing everywhere, and midfield, for our first goal, he was the throw-in guy, and so playing right back to a degree as well, just everywhere. Played it quickly. It almost, maybe at least from the broadcasters and whatnot, they were like, it might have come off of him. It turns out it definitely was not. It was just a very astute and brilliant throw-in that Saba was able to get on the end of, and he was able to pull it back from the byline for a penalty spot. Lattelat finish with his left foot, finishes at a plumb where, it's just instinctual. Side netting on the left. It's just, 1-0 is. A lot of people, I think, are at this point, they're like, oh my God, okay, well, yeah, we can get something out of this. And it very much looked like it was the case. I mean, I think had a lot more hunger, or we had a lot more energy than FC Cincy for a good bit of the match, but we did get sucker punched. And yeah, that's kind of what happens when, unfortunately, you have homegrowns that are not really playing in their favored position. And Edwards, unfortunately, gives away a very rash free kick right outside the D, or I think in the D. But either way, it's like a little scissor action, just ill-advised. They probably were targeting him a little bit already anyway, but yeah, it's just not an area that you want to give up a free kick. And yeah, for their goal, it was just a little too simple to a degree. I mean, yeah, Edwards, he was able to deflect it in the wall, but very unfortunately, it deflects into the net, where Braguzan, just one of those kind of classic Braguzan freeze moments. Yep, falls down, like Mike is showing you in the video right now, if you're watching it on YouTube. So it's frustrating as hell, because I think we were the better team, and Ronny Deila said as much. He said that, yeah, I'm very happy with the point. I think it was deserved. I thought we should have won the game. We were the better team in 60 minutes. And I sit here with the same feeling I've had the last 5-6 games. We show how much quality we have when we're playing good, but when my screen has gone black for really quickly, but we lose shape and concentration and discipline when things are going against us. The first 60 minutes, you cannot do so much more. And I mean, yeah, do you agree? I mean, it's like this game has you like talking to yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the stats bear it out that we were the better team on the day for most of the game. He said, I think 60 minutes. But I think, like, for the most part, we were pushing the envelope. We were pushing them. They looked like they had no answers for what we were trying to do. After our first goal, it really seemed like things were kind of flying. It's really, really unfortunate with Evander's goal. He honestly probably didn't deserve it. His shot probably was going to be saved or missed or what have you, if it didn't deflect. It did deflect. No chance for Braguzan. Goes in. Now all of a sudden, the crowd's back into it. Cincinnati feels belief. Whereas before, they looked like they had no belief. They looked like they were not here to play today. It seemed like it was one of those days for them where they didn't want to get out of bed or something. And on conversely, looking at Atlanta, we look like we were absolutely up for it. We look like we could get in there, do a breaking and entering, and get out of there with maybe 3 points. Unfortunately, we got sucker punched, like you said. It kind of took the wind out of our sails. We kind of got, slowed down a bit. It just kind of felt like, oh no, the operation has gone awry. Things are not going as planned. And we know if Atl Utd, it seems like when that occurs, things get worse, things fall apart. And it seemed to be the case when Evander followed it up 5 minutes later with a follow-up goal. That one, that's just Evander being Evander and being good against a inexperienced defense that we have, makeshift. But, we expected to maybe concede 1, didn't expect to concede 2. Again, I still think that was a bit of a fluke. However, with our second goal, kind of evens out in terms of flukiness.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, yeah, Evander kind of pulling a little bit of like Thiago Almada a little bit, where, it's just the star power just takes over the game. And, I think there's some similarities for sure. I mean, Evander, one of the MVP candidates from last year, it's just one of these guys that they're kind of inevitable. It's just a matter of, how do you keep him uninterested, per se? And that's kind of the conundrum. But, we didn't stop trying to go for at least a draw here. And Saba, attacking down the right, looking quite good on the right, looking comfortable, looking where he is most dangerous. He's able to cut in on his left. He's able to cross in from the right, from the byline as well. There just is a lot more dynamism than it seems like when he's on the left. And so Saba, trying to find Emmanuel Atl in the box, but he throws it in the mixer, or kicks it in the mixer. And yeah, their makeshift defense without Miles Robinson, they're in trouble too. No Matt Miazga either. Yeah, they basically preemptively tried to cut out that cross. I mean, their defender, the FC Cincinnati defender, unaware that Atl had peeled off of him and went to the back post. And unfortunately for them, we were able to get that own goal, Saba, with that delivery. And, it also was probably undeserved, but in a sense, it maybe evens out. But, Atl United, I think for the first time maybe this season to a degree, we're able to show some mettle, show some fight in moments where we really needed it, especially when we were that down and out with however many players. I mean, and especially it's the fact that we don't really have much firepower off of the bench either. It's kind of just the conundrum. But
let's quick. Like I'd like to go more in depth to this, but let's just quickly go over the plaudits of some of the good performances and maybe some of the lackluster ones. I mean, Will Riley did a great job, having to be called up to do this job against a insurmountable opponent, and he did a very good job. Matt Edwards, outside of his mistakes, which you kind of expect from homegrowns and you kind of expect going up against players like Evander, are going to get exploited, and so I don't really fault him for those. It's a lot of defenders get exploited by top quality number 10s in this league, so it's not that big of a deal. Outside of that, he looked pretty good. Saba, like you said, down the right side looked good and interesting, dynamic, more threatening. Zonde did not look very good. He did not do much this game, I feel like. Moranchuk was, as usual, quiet, but did, I thought, well. He did good enough, I think. And let's see, anyone else? Latte Lath obviously did well with his goal. He put himself in the right place multiple times. That was good to see. The big one for me, Tristan Miyamba did amazing this game. He really, coming into this game and until up to the moment he got injured, he looked like he was really finding his form, really finding his confidence, and he was, a defensive, like, almost masterclass this game. And offensively, trying to make things happen. A lot of passes did not go where he needed them to, but he was trying to break lines, which is something that, we've been struggling with. So that was really good to see, and it's unfortunate that he went down with an injury. That looks like 3 weeks he'll be out with.
Yeah, let's not give it away too much yet, because we'll get into it in the news. But yeah, I mean, definitely agreed with all of that. And then Keiman Tagashi as well, I think, deserves some plaudits for his out of position performance and pretty much in the spell of Muyamba, which it seems like Click is not maybe fully match fit yet, so that's really probably why he didn't come on. And I mean, it's definitely. From Tagashi's standpoint, he's earned some minutes for sure, some more minutes, and then also Will Riley, I mean, playing the full 90 and on a yellow card. So yeah, definitely something that will be, I think, used in the future as far as his usefulness per se.
Yeah, versatile player.
Yeah, indeed, because he's basically played across the midfield positions, and so it's not only just the 10, 8, or 6, but Deila, he and just to finish this all out, he said Will was unbelievable, debut game, you can't do more than that. He had the mentality I'm looking for. That was fantastic to see. Trustworthy is the number one word for him. That's what we need for everybody in good and bad times. So definitely seems like he will be relied on for some future matches, and good on Riley. But let's wrap a bow on this match.
One last thing. Interestingly, when Doug Roberson interviewed Tagashi about his goal, or his assist rather, he asked him, have you ever gotten an assist off of a throw-in before? And he did say yes in a previous team. And he said that team actually had a throw-in coach where they used different kinds of throw-ins and different kinds of tactical situations. So just an interesting thing. I know you've talked about how Atlanta United may want to put their money in places where maybe other teams can't afford to, which is, spending on something like a throw-in coach. So, just an idea.
Exactly. Throwing coaches, set piece coaches, all the intangibles that you can get to get that extra degree of kind of competitiveness, really. So, agreed. But let's wrap a bow on this match. Yes, Atl United will be playing NYCFC this Saturday, and we will have that preview later on for you in this episode. But let's get into the news. Miguel Almiron, he became the third player in Atl United history to score at least 4 times in his first 5 games with the club. And that's joining Jose Martinez, 6 in 2017, and Ronaldo Cisneros, 4 in 2022. So, pretty decent company there. Very rarefied company. But, Muyamba, he will miss 3 weeks with 2 right leg injuries. Unfortunately, it's a right LCL sprain and then a right calf strain. And the rehab will determine how quickly he can come back. But right now it looks like about 3 weeks. And it was tough to see stretchered off. I mean, just not a great sight. But also, you have Edwin Mosquera, who, there hasn't really been too much of an update. It seems like it's pretty much that he will be okay. It's just that it's still a little week to week, but definitely an odd injury on that sideline where Deila didn't even know about it. So, definitely kind of odd. But let's see. Deila, he did speak about Will Riley, like we kind of mentioned a little bit, but he did talk about the mentality that Riley had, and that's what he's looking for. But speaking of Deila, Rooted in the Stripes, that video that they put out, it was spicy from Ronny Deila. Basically, there was a moment after the New York Red Bulls match where he's yelling at the squad in the locker room, pretty much saying, with the subs, why were you guys not playing diagonal balls? Why were they straight balls? And that New York Red Bulls would just step onto them, get the ball back, and then we're in trouble. It ended up being a 0-0 draw, but he was heated and walked out of the room. No goodbyes or whatever. He just pissed, walking out of the room. And it's something that maybe that's what's needed. But what do you think? Like, what's what's your reaction after seeing Deila that heated in the locker room?
It's partially it's a little early for being heated, but I also think it can be appropriate. If this is the tact he wishes to take with the team, maybe he's clocked that the team needs a more kind of disciplinary, approach to this. And that if that's what he's clocked and that's what he thinks is going to be a solution, then okay. Everyone has different managerial styles. If this is his way and we can get results from it, that's fine. And in a way, if he's appraised the situation of we could potentially be off the track, we need to fix this early so we can not get far off our trajectory. Like if you imagine a cruise ship on the ocean, if you're off by an angle of 1 or 2 degrees over a long enough period, you'll go way off course versus the original course you were on. So correcting early would be extremely important. And if this is how he has to do it to get us back on track, I'm for it.
What an analogy, man. I applaud that, man. Shit. But it's that. There is this kind of degree of you want to nip it in the bud as soon as possible. What was also interesting was Derek Williams kind of conceding that, man, he has a love-hate relationship with football. He at times, is it's part of this. Like this hairdryer treatment is part of the game, and something that he, I'm sure has dealt with a lot, in his age, but it's still, it doesn't make it easier, and especially when other priorities start to kind of supersede, like say family, like say a baby, it kind of puts things into a lot of perspective. So it does make it a little bit harder to maybe have full focus sometimes. So it is something that, Deila maybe is trying to, kind of veer everybody back in to when, he needs them to, because it's those moments that really define his tenure. And if they don't do what he says, it's his job on the line. So he absolutely feels that pressure. It makes sense that he would try to get everybody in line as fast as possible. So, I'm for it. But
and also, I mean, let's just be real. These players, they're big boys. They're professionals, especially Williams, seasoned veteran. He's been chewed out before. He'll be chewed out again. It's no big deal. They can handle it. They're big boys. So I don't think he may have played it up a little bit for the documentary series. But I think they're gonna be just fine. If he wants to take this type of approach with the players.
Indeed. But so last bit of news is that the international break will be over very soon. But a lot of the players obviously saw a good number of minutes. But most notably, Luke Brennan for the U21s for the U.S. Youth National Team was able to score. I believe it was a 1-0 win for them as well. So, Luke Brennan balling out. Definitely a player that we will need to rely on a little bit coming off the bench with some of these injuries and, I think more extended absences to a degree. So hopefully he doesn't maybe get called out to too many international, breaks as well. But either way, good on him. Miggy as well. I think Paraguay winning both of their matches, I believe. So
They tied Colombia.
Did they tie? Okay, maybe they tied Colombia. But he's been posting a lot about all the exploits with Paraguay. So definitely, he's happy. He's happy there right now. Let's wrap up the news and let's get into the mailbag. You guys send in these questions through IG story and Discord. Please continue to do so. We might answer your question in the future. But first question comes from Greatest Josh Cohen fan and also similarly Greatest Brad Guzan fan. And also on Instagram, Paul JH11. And also Michael Walsh. But basically, they're all asking, should Almiron switch to left wing since Saba was impressive on the right wing? Or maybe should Almiron play as a 10 and drop Alexi to the midfield? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the topic on everyone's mind right now. You got, Henry Higuita writing about it, Joe Patrick responding to him, and Sam Jones following up with a third article about what to do with Moranchuk. I think it's probably a little early before Deila starts to experiment. I still think he's going to try what he's been doing and think, this is just going to take time for them to get used to this, and then once they do, things will be all right. If by whatever time period they've tried it enough and they went, okay, maybe it's just not going to work, I would like to see some experimentation, and I don't really have that much of a preference about which theory or which way, if you want to do a formation change, like a 4-3-3 or something. I don't think Ronny does formation changes very much. Or if you want to switch the wingers, or maybe have Miguel play centrally and maybe Moranchuk a deep lying playmaker, something like that. When things are not working, I would like to see change. That's just really what I would like to, at the bare minimum, because then I know he's trying. He's trying to fix the problem that he sees. But to say, I don't really have a horse in the race of this theory is the right one over the other ones. So, I just would want to see some kind of change affected if things are not going well in, 5 or so games down the line, if things still are looking similarly not impactful.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever works for the team. That's really the crux of it. But Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the post-match live stream. We talked about it in the previous episode on Five Stripe Weekly as well. But yeah, I mean, Miranchuk in the 10 obviously is underperforming. Miggy, Saba, all ending up kind of in the same zones as well on that left. And so it is kind of congested. There's not enough spacing. And ultimately, we're getting in each other's way and at times marking each other in the box. Say Saba with Emmanuel Lat on that chance that ended up being a little bit of a kind of muted type of, shot. But it is ultimately, there are some permutations that we could do, of course, like you had mentioned before, instead of inverting the wingers. Maybe Miggy is on the left, Saba is on the right, and then just feeding Emmanuel Lat as much as possible. If we are to keep Miranchuk in the 10 position, there are some people that are saying, oh, he has played on the right, maybe switching Miggy into the middle. But I'm of the one type of person, not maybe that one, but there's a lot of people that I think this as well. School of thought that your wingers should be pacey and should have that ability to get behind because there is just more space. Centrally, you're going to have more congestion. You're not going to be able to run in behind as much if you are the number 10. And so, yeah, while Miggy can play in congested areas, I don't think that ultimately is where he should be, operating 100% of the time. And I think that's really what it is. There's a bit of fluidity that should be happening. Maybe it is, okay, say if you want to have Miranchuk as a deep-lying playmaker, well, that would be a very attacking type of 11 where, okay, maybe he plays as an 8. Well, then, yeah, it's against a very weak side that defensively that you're playing against, per se, or maybe it's just moments when you're chasing a match. So it's difficult, I think, to see Miranchuk as that guy that's maybe can play in all these various positions when I think he's definitely got some liabilities in that sense. So it is maybe Miggy having to adapt a little bit more, them just per se trying to just not be in the same zones after some more chemistry, after some more figuring out how each other like to play. But it is, at the end of the day, Ronny Deila, he is a stubborn manager, according to Christian Polanco from the Cooligans. If you can check that video out when we interviewed him about what Deila could bring. And so, yeah, it's really the question du jour right now. But, I mean, ultimately, it could be all sorts of different ways. It's really just what gets us to score the most goals. So, if it's the status quo, great. If it's not, make the changes. So, but next question comes from Nick in the ATL. He says, "It's my belief that Saba knew what he was doing 100% with the own goal. Did you see it that way as well?"
I mean, of course, he didn't think I'm gonna ping this off of the defender for a poacher's goal off of him. No, I don't think so. I thought he just was put in the mixer, and sometimes good things happen, and this time it did.
Yeah, it did. And yeah, Saba, I think that's really what it is. Like you put it in there, you hope for the best, and we need to do more of that. It's really, that's how you create that chaos, is when you put it in those dangerous areas and force the defense to come up with answers. And they didn't. That's those are the questions that we ask. But so you guys sent in a bunch of questions. We're not going to be able to get to all of them in this episode because we had to restart this. But I think the last question that we will take is JWin20, and he asks, what will it take for to get our fans to be as excited as we were in 2018 and 2017? The Benz seems a bit lost, or seems to have lost a bit of that pizzazz. I mean, obviously, Mike's not always at the games, but for me, I think it's the casual fans that have dropped off. Obviously, since we've really gotten a lot more poor with our form, basically not winning. And then also, yeah, you have a lot of the, the really diehards that are aging out. I mean, 9 years is a long time. And, some of these people are, getting into the age where they're having kids, where, they're moving out into the suburbs. It's harder for them to stay in, the supporter section and, giving that energy match in, match out. It is, just the nature of life. And unfortunately, that's, I think, the case. But it is on pretty much all of us to kind of shepherd in the new crop. And also, on the team to continue to try to be winning, basically attracting new casual fans and them possibly becoming fervent fans because of that. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just first and foremost, winning solves everything. So that will get butts in seats if we just start winning again. That'll be, especially if we do it in an exciting, swashbuckling way, which the $50 million attack kind of promises. So that'll go a long way towards that.
Yep. Well, so that does it for the mailbag, and thank you guys so much for sending those questions, and we might answer your questions in the future if you do send more of them in. But let's get into the match preview. So 7:30 at the Benz versus NYCFC. NYCFC, they play us tough, but their last match against Columbus, they drew 0-0. We played them last in July of 2024 to a 2-2 draw. Our last 6 against them, 5 draws, 1 loss. Not spectacular, I would say. I wouldn't say anybody's owning anybody, but just, nobody can win. But, so as far as the team that they are, well, they seem like a team that has a good bit of talent. They spent $25 million in the transfer market from 2023 and 2024, and they have a productive academy. And their front office seems to be able to find undervalued talents or targets from other MLS teams as well. So there is that. But new head coach Pascal Janssen, he has been brought in to fix that. But it's he's still pretty much having to figure a lot of that out. They are 8th in the Eastern Conference. We are 12th, of course, unfortunately. But there have been some big departures from their squad from previous years as well. Christian McFarland, Jovan Mijatovic, and James Sands as well. But basically, they play that 4-2-3-1. They are also pretty much penned to be maybe even a little lower where they are currently. They are as low, or pundits have them as low as 11th, and generally around the 8th or 9th seeds. But Ozzy Alonso has them as 5th in the Eastern Conference, which is what they finished in last season with 50 points. But they did make the Eastern Conference semifinals last year as well. But yeah, they are that type of team that, unfortunately, they are good at coming back from losing positions, which for us, not so great as far as keeping us in winning positions. We have been giving up leads that we have earned early on, and it's really kind of uncharacteristic. But and as well, I mean, it's kind of a team that hasn't really gotten out of second gear as well. They play a lot in their own half. They haven't been able to figure out their build-up, per se, to really be really dangerous in the final third. But, the odds, according to Bet365, a home win for Atl Utd is at 51.3%. A draw is 28.6%. And an away win for NYCFC at only 25.6%. So, there is a pretty whopping chance that we can get some points here if we do some business. But let's get to some of our unavailable players. Basically Edwin Mosquera week to week. Tristan Muyamba, of course, with the 3 weeks out. Jamal Tiare still a little bit unknown week to week as well. So, yeah, two pieces of our attack. We will need all of our firepower to make sure that we can get all 3 points. But for you, Michael, what do you feel like Atl United needs to do in this match in order to get all 3 points?
Yeah, it's going to be what our staff writer going under the pseudonym Bill Gluckman said in this week's Anatomy of a Goal piece that he put out. Check out our Patreon if you want to see our series on that. Yeah, he was talking about we need to be quick. That's kind of the word of the season so far. We need to be quicker especially. This is how we scored the goals that we've scored so far. We need to continue to use our very fast attack instead of just, I mean, they even said it in the Rooted in the Stripes episode too. We have a fast attack. We need to use it. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Hit them quickly and to just don't relent. Just keep going fast, making them unsettled and unbalanced. That will be the key to really untangle any good defense. Not saying New York City has one, but I think that will give us plenty of opportunities to score ample goals.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, it's, I think for us, agreed, there is a bit of playing with that verticality, but also, at home, I think we're going to be expected to probably play a little bit more with the ball, especially with NYCFC maybe not being able to figure that out per se as well. But we could also just let them have the ball and them just not figure out how to break us down. So, that could work well as a tactic to be able to get in behind, get our runners in and around the box, kind of, I think maybe similarly to CF Montreal in that match. So, yeah, hopefully we can start a string of pretty much 3 matches at home where we can get all 3 points because, yes, this will be very much needed. We need to make the Benz a fortress. But let's get into that predicted starting 11. And, yeah, let's go between the lines together. Braguzan, obviously, between the sticks. Yeah, fullbacks, you going to change anything?
No.
Yeah, Lennon, Amador. I think the player coming in, obviously Gregerson for Edwards, for the center back pairing of Gregerson and Williams. It's gonna be interesting. I think really what's in midfield. How would you kind of put the 11 out?
So if Klick can't do the full 90 minutes, I would start him and then maybe have him taken out, planned, and maybe have Riley come in to replace him since he did such a good job in the last game. You can reward him for that. That could be nice to see. And then next to him, I think we'll see Sleesh back in action.
Yeah, I think Sleesh is the easy one here, but I think it's the matter of how attacking do you want to go against NYCFC, which, I mean, I think you do. I think Klick makes sense, but, I don't know if he's match fit. And yeah, you could go with Jay Fortune as well, but since he also played, I mean, it's just basically, every one of the players has played pretty much in the past week, either for their national team or, for Atl United. I think I might go with Will Riley just to, kind of go with the continuity. He earned these minutes, and he seemed to, be able to last for the entire game. So, if it's Will Riley, it might be a little bit where, it might be a little too defensive here, but, Klick coming on possibly later to basically open up the match a bit. I think that makes sense for me. And then, we'll pretty much rotate pretty much everybody, kind of give everybody some minutes to make sure everyone's fresh in midfield anyway. So, but I think this is where it's fairly easy. I don't think that Deila is going to change too much in the front four. So, yeah, it'll be Miguel Almiron, Branchuk in the 10 position, Saba on the left, and Latte Lat up top. It's just, yeah, until there's really, I think, maybe 10 games of evidence that it's like, oh, man, okay, yeah, this front four just can't play this way. It seems like, that's going to be the status quo, but are you going to change anything?
No, and to your point, it's always frustrating because it's like, oh well, like, oh, game 6, it's not working out. It's like, but what if it's game 7 where it clicks? You know, it's just like, oh, but it's like if we change it now, we never get to game 7. We have to start over from scratch, building chemistry in this new way of playing. Like, it's very frustrating for a coach, I imagine, to experiment with different ways to deploy your team.
Yeah, and I think it's very itchy butt to do so as well this early. So I get it from Deila's end, but yeah, I mean the calls for change are happening all around Atlanta and around everywhere, you know, in terms of people who care about the club. So yeah, we'll be keen to see what will be happening, but let's get into that score prediction. What do you got?
I want to say, I think it might be 2-1, but I was bullish yesterday and said 3-1, so I'll stick with that. I want to see us be able to score a lot of goals again, like we did against Montreal. I think we'll see our attack be a little bit more solidified this time around. I'm hoping Ronnie's words and things are solidifying a little bit more, even though some of those players were off on international duty. But, you know, Latte and Moranchuk were here, and I think they were two of the players that need to kind of get on the same page, and that helped in last game. So I think, and Saba was here too, another guy who needs to get on the same page. So I think that, you know, we'll see a better attack. I'm hoping for 2 to 3 goals, and I don't think New York City has more than 1 goal in them with their, you know, attack with like Berkrar and some other players. I don't think really they have what it takes. They're 2-2 and 1 with a +1 differential. I'm not totally afraid of them. So I don't think that they're going to get more than 1 goal, and I think we can beat them pretty handedly.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not as bullish. I think it's another 2-2 draw. I mean, just the bearing of results in this fixture just continues to be this. So, for a betting man, I'm not a betting man, but that would probably be the smart pick. And yeah, unfortunately, it is another 2-2 draw. But let us know, guys, what you think is going to happen in those comments below. That, guys, is pretty much the entire episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, how many goals will Atlanta United score on this homestand? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. But, guys, that is the episode there and there. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's been Michael. I've been AJ. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.